The Ben Bonk Game Jam is a 72-hour game jam. This was the second one that was hosted by Mr. Bonk. The theme for it was limited space. I didn't know that the jam was happening until a patron in my Discord server asked if I was gonna make something for it. Because of that, there was only 36 hours remaining. So I started at 12:12 a.m. with making an idea document. Since the theme was limited space, I had only two general ideas. One was to make a memory-based game where the character only had a limited amount of slots to remember things. Or the other idea was to have a limited weight system / limited amount of space in an area to store things. I didn't have a single clue of how I would make either of these into a game. I thought maybe I could make a game where you could go around the world and pick up cards that would allow you to do something specific, but you could only have a certain amount of them. But then I didn't really know how to make that into a fun game. So I decided to just start doing things. I created a new project in Unity and started on making art. I started to make the pixel art on an 8x8 canvas. I first started with a little main character dude and made a second frame of the main character for if there was going to be carrying of items in the game, since I knew for a fact there wouldn't have been enough time for me to make animations. I then made another little dude that would most likely be an NPC and would maybe be used and maybe not be used. I just made it in case I wanted to use it. I made a singular block type for the ground of the world, and then made a little thing of grass for some detail in the world. I put in all my things, and it was time to start coding stuff to make it a functioning game. So I made a script, named it Movement, and with my limited knowledge of coding, I started to code. I used the add force version of Movement, which definitely doesn't feel good because of the ramp up and down time for the movement, so it was very slidey and looked pretty trapped. But that was really the only type of movement I kind of know how to make. But the character was able to move now, so now it was time to figure out how to make the sort of Paper Mario style turning, kind of like this from the game Keeper by Next Program. Because I really have no idea of how to edit the rotation of an object through the script, I looked it up and tried to figure out how to do it. All the things that showed up from Unity forums, I tried to get to work, but none of them would. So I ended up giving up since I didn't really have an idea for what the game should be, and it wasn't very fun to try and make. So I got off at 1:25 a.m. and knew I couldn't work on the game for most of that same day since I would have to do stuff during the day. I returned to work on the game at 9:30 p.m. that same day. So at this point, I only had about 15 hours to finish the game and make a page on itch.io. Since it was so late the last time I had worked on it, I forgot that I was able to use animations in the code to do what I wanted. So I set that up in the code and had to make a few animations for the character using the Unity animator. I got the flipping to work, so it played in the game. However, since I am a dumb, I couldn't figure out a way to make it flip every time you switch directions. I wanted there to be a walk animation, so I made a little slight rotation to make it look like he was waddling along, and I made a little idle animation, which was just a slight squash and stretch of the character. When I started to implement the animations into the code, there was some strange trash happening where the character was very jittery while moving. Pretty sure it was from the animator, so I made the transitions of the animator work for the most part and got off at 9:50 because I was bored and still didn't know what I was going to make the game into. And as the troll I am, I still made an itch.io page to still submit the game to the jam. So this is the game. It is the literal definition of a limited space. And of course, the community loved it with such great reviews such as, "What is this? Confusing. What's the game about? I'd like to actually play it. You confuse me. That is not a game." And since this isn't really a game, go check out Soup's game, System, and rate it 5 stars.